when we are talking about in front of the galaxy of stars, where I'm sure Lord Krishna is residing in each one of you, it's there inside us. When we are talking about SIP, strive, innovate, and prosper, I'm sure there is a lot that we can learn from the Lord, where he says, particularly because you put prosper in the last, that do we have to do something to create prosperity for ourselves or for anyone? Because I think that's what the Lord does. If we strive for the right reason and if we innovate for the right reason, the third is an outcome, not that something that we have to seek, because as he said that karmanyevadi karaste ma phaleshu kadachana, that our job is to strive for the right thing. Our job is to keep innovating. And he also says in the 6th chapter, Jnana Vijnana Tripatatma Kutastho Vijitendriya Yukta Yuchyute Yogi Samloshtashma Kanchana. One who's endowed or blessed or seeks Jnana and Vijnana, the Vishishta Jnana, one who has conquered his senses, and particularly those of us in market or in this community, where the two emotions that we need to really conquer, the greed and the fear, getting too greedy when there is exuberance in market, and getting too fearful when nobody wants to invest, or controlling the emotions of our investors. And he is the real yogi who's endowed with that right Jnana and Vijnana, and that's why you talked about innovation, and then if you do that right way and control your emotions, and after that you don't have to worry about it. It says samloshtashma kanchana, because then you become the yogi. For him, a lump of gold and a lump of sand exactly the same, because you know that you don't have to worry about that. You see everything in the same manner, and the Lord is taking care of you. I'm in this pious land of Saint Thurveliver, and as I said that the biggest wealth is virtue, and the biggest loss is forgetting the first thing. And that's why I think if we have the virtue, automatically the wealth will get created in the material way also. Our industry has touched a new record high. The AUM at the end of January was 52.7 lakh crores. The AUM at the end of January 23 was 40.6 lakh crore or something. So it's an addition of 12 lakh crores of AUM over a 12-month period. So Sham, 12 lakh crores in 1 year, industry has added that AUM. And just to put that number in perspective, around 10 years back, that was the total AUM of the industry. What we have added in last 12 months was the total AUM of the industry. Our equity AUM was 2 lakh crores in 2013-14, is more than 25 lakh crores now. It's almost 12 times in last 10 years. Our SIP accounts used to be around 75 lakhs. Now we have 7.5 crore SIP accounts. Our folios have touched almost 70 crores. Whichever way we look at it, the industry AUM was 1 lakh crore in 2002 and over 50 lakh crores in 2024. Anand, if you remember, we celebrated 1 lakh crore AUM because that looked like a big number. It was like a 6-digit AUM for some of us who were there in the industry, and today where we are. At that point in time, it would have been almost unimaginable that over the next 20 years, we are going to be 50 times of that. And whichever way we look at it, whether the folios, whether in terms of SIP AUM, is now more than 10 lakh crores. So 1/3 of the, or more than that, of the equity AUM has been built through the SIP. And there, I think MFDs, people who are sitting here, the galaxy of stars who are sitting here have played a very, very big role. The people who say that people just invest for a short term and all that, this SIP AUM wouldn't have got built if you have not sold in the right manner, if you have not convinced the investor in the right manner to remain invested for a very, very long time. Last month, industry created more than 50 lakh SIPs, more than 50 lakh new SIP accounts in 1 month. And again, to put that number in perspective, 10 years back, I mean, industry would have been very happy if we were doing around 1.5 lakh new SIPs in a month. So what a journey from 1.5 lakh to 50 lakhs in a month. And this is just beginning. I don't think we have even touched the surface. How many of you are from B30 here? I know a lot of people are from Chennai. Oh, there are many. Oh, there are like maybe, I think, larger number of them. Please clap for yourself first, and then I give you the reason. So overall, it is said that industry hasn't expanded. For several years, we used to be told that it's more about Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, the Pune and Delhi and Calcutta. But in the last couple of years, what a transformation you guys have brought in. So the overall AUM, 17 or 18% of the AUM of the industry come from B30. But in equity, that number is almost 28%. Of the flows that come in the industry, 30% come from B30. 40% of the SIP book today, that 18,800, is from B30. 44% of the folios that I talked about, 17 crores, are from B30. 55% of the new SIP, 55% of the new SIP in terms of count last month came from B30 towns. And a lot of people think that people are not as digitally savvy, it's not easy. The SIPs that are done by the fintechs, more than 60% come from B30 towns. So of course it has been a push product. It's not been easy to sell mutual fund, but there is a pull also today that even in smaller towns, people are trying to reach out to someone because they want to invest in mutual fund. So all the efforts that MFI and the industry has done in doing a persuasion, I'm sure you all heard about the persuasion, but the persuasion of creating an interest, generating an interest in the product, and the hard work done by you, the persuasion of how to go about it, where to invest, what to invest in, so on and so forth, together have done this wonder. So please clap for yourself for everything that you have done. And it's very interesting the way, of course, the SIP word you use for strive, innovate, and prosper, but historically we always used to say that we have so much of competition in India from gold, from real estate, from insurance as a financial savings or investment product, because that also gets sold as long-term investments rather than protection only. And we have competition from many other things, even the consumption, that people will go for buying a luxury car or spend a lot of money on wedding or whatever, but not invest in a systematic manner. And how it has changed. In fact, I'm not using any slides, but I'm sure you have seen some of those in some of my presentations. I show those front page advertisements of some of the products where a large gold jeweler has put do an SIP in gold. And that was like very heartening for us to see that they also need the concept of SIP to get customers. A front page ad of a large real estate player who's more into selling plot of lands, and it says do an SIP in real estate. It was a front page ad of Times of India. We had an insurance company, the largest insurance company, using the word do SIP in insurance. And of course, one of the large luxury car manufacturers said last year that cars are not selling because people are doing SIP. Thank you so much. God bless you. And then I think industry gave a rebuttal that now actually you have taught us that how easy it is to buy a Mercedes-Benz, because you only need to invest this much every month and one day you will be able to get the SIP. So the industry has made it very easy, and now SIP is a household name. But at the same time, as I said in the beginning, we have to, why are we doing it is more important than what and how. You have many experts over the next 2 days. We'll talk about many things, how to innovate, how to kind of communicate, how to convince your clients better, how to do whatever, a variety of things in terms of innovation. As I said, that I'll stick more to the why part of it. We are in this Amrit Kal. Over the next 25 years, as we create an economic miracle, I think our job, the why for all of us, is to ensure that fruits of that growth are distributed to every single household in India. The fruits of that growth are distributed or are shared with every single household in India, and that's why I really commend all the efforts and the work that you do in IFA Galaxy to spread this word. Mr. Satyanarayan talked about that we need many, many more MFDs over the next several years if we have to really reach out out to large number of households. All said and done, we are celebrating many numbers in terms of AUM, in terms of, let's say, the SIP flows or SIP book. But the real fact is that we only have 4.3 crore unique investors at the PAN level. We haven't really scratched the surface. There is still a long way to go for us. And that's why, as I said, that if we keep that why in mind, why are we doing it? Because we need to ensure that a country which taught Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, a country that taught Parasparo Graho Jivanam, the whole world, the situation in which it is in, need a leadership from a country like ours. And as this country creates the prosperity and becomes a Sone ki Chidiya and regain that glory of Vishwaguru, regain the glory of the biggest economic power or the biggest political power or the biggest cultural and civilizational power which we had for thousands of years till maybe a few hundred years back, a very short period in the history of mankind maybe. When we gain that, I think the biggest thing that is expected from all of us who are in capital market, biggest thing who are in financial services, we need to ensure that those fruits are distributed to as many households. And as I said, that the more you look at the world, the more you feel happy being in India. When it was asked to Warren Buffett that what is the secret of your success, the amount of money that you have made over several decades, and I think he said that, I think I was at the right time, at the right place. I think I came out of right womb. I was born in America at the right time, and I had the confidence and faith in this country. I think all of us are so lucky. Yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai. I think we are at the right time, at the right place, and we need to make the most of it over the next 25 years, and apna paisa to ban jayega. I think that's given as long as we remain passionate about creating wealth for every Indian. And that's the motto for which I think each one of us at HDFC AMC are living for, to be the wealth creator for every Indian. And we won't leave any stone unturned as an industry, along with all our peers, along with all the partners like you, under the guidance of the regulator and the other policymakers, and with the help of every stakeholder, that we need to ensure that the fruits of this growth over the next 25 years in this Amrit Kal, as we transform from an emerging country to a developed country, as we transform to a rich and wealthy country, even from a per capita basis, we will surely become fourth, third, second largest economy in 20-25 years. But the real joy won't be unless that growth is shared, those growth is distributed to many more households than what we have reached out. And if we keep that purpose at the center, a lot of other things will fall in place. If we keep that noble purpose at the center, a lot of other things will fall in place. I think we need to do three things. There'll be a lot of noise. It's not going to be easy. Again, invoking Lord Krishna, taking the words from, look at his life. He was born in a jail, and look at variety of attacks that came on him. There were so many people who wanted to take his life at various stages, right from Kans to then many more, and then the fight that he had, or maybe I think the storm, and where he had to take the Govardhan on, or it didn't end. Culminating into Kurukshetra, and then after that also, and still living through us, and then we are fighting this battle every day. There would be like that, right? It won't be a straightforward, it won't be a linear line over the next 25 years. The world is a fragile place. The world is hyper-divided. As I said, that the world needs India, but the overall noise levels will remain very high. It has remained high and unlikely to change. What we need to do to ensure that we do well are the 3 E that you need to keep in mind. Number one, the existing clients must be handled very, very well. We all talked about, Sunil talked about, there are so many funds which have been in existence for 20, 25, 30 years. We had the honor and the pleasure of celebrating 30th year of HDFC Balance Advantage Fund, and you all know the wealth that has got created over a 30-year period. There are few funds like that in the industry who may have 10, 15, 20 years of track record. Over a 30-year period, a 10,000 rupee per month SIP has become like almost 13.5 crores. A 1 lakh rupee investment has become close to 1.5 crores. And then there are many other funds like our FlexiCap and all. But how many investors have been able to complete their journey, have made that 1,000 rupee into 1.5 crore? There are few. There are many distributors like you. There are many advisors across the country who have made that possible for their investors, but not as many as it should have been. Now we have the benefit of the hindsight. Of course, I have to say that past returns are no guarantee of future returns. Maybe the inflationary inflationary environment, interest rate levels and all were different. But it just shows the power of compounding. It just shows the possibility. It just shows what, if you invest in a disciplined manner, what can happen. And if we are in Amrit Kal for next 25 years, I'm sure there'll be many investors who can expect a great journey of wealth creation even by starting with a small amount. So the existing clients should not get swayed by the short-term volatility. That is very, very important, and there would be volatility in the market. 25-year won't be a straight line that we go from $4 trillion to $25 trillion and market delivers in a linear manner. We have seen in last few months also, or maybe last couple of years as well, despite all the positive macro news, I mean the volatility caused by some or the other reason. Even in 2003 to 2008, when Sensex moved from 3,000 to 21,000, between April 2003 where it bottomed around 3,000 and January 2008 where it peaked at 21,000 in that cycle, there were I think 7 or 8 corrections of more than 10%. 7 or 8 corrections of more than 10%, and some of them were a lot deeper like in 2004, etc. So I mean that's the nature of the beast. Of course the volatility structurally I think is coming down because of the domestic flows. The volatility a lot of time used to be caused by some global reasons because they were a larger participant in our market. Today, thanks to you, the word that you have kind of spread, the faith that you have generated in our investors, now we have the stable flows, and that will ensure that our markets remain less volatile, hopefully, than what they have been whenever there was any large global event. But still, that's the nature of the beast. Markets move like a pendulum. Sometimes there would be exuberance, there would be some pessimism. What we need to ensure is that journey of 1,000 to whatever 1.5 crore that we had, I think how do we create that journey for every investor? So first was retention of existing client. Existing clients must be. The second is encourage top up. I think we feel very happy that all our investors that you already got, there's tremendous potential in the same investor to invest more. And I always say this, whatever your investor has invested hasn't done what they need to do or what they have capacity to do. So before you reach out to new investors, make a point that you go to your investor and convince them that you haven't invested enough, because they may not have looked at the way, I mean the 3L, just to make it simple, that larger income and wealth. They have a larger income than what they had, and constantly they need to top up of SIP. Longevity of life is increasing every few years. In 1.5 years time, we got vaccine for COVID. These things used to take decades, right? And in fact, in my annual letter, I've written about a new age of health tech, how healthcare is likely to change lives of people, particularly in India, over the next several years, and will leapfrog in terms of the healthcare in India. And with that longevity of life, they need to save for much, much longer. I meet distributors, I meet investors. Sir, मैं तो long term ही सोचता हूँ. I never look at less than 3-5 years. Some think that, no sir, my investor is for 10 years. And I say they have to think about 40 and 50 years now, not 10 and 20 years. The real long term is 40, 50, because if you're starting at 30 or 40, you will save for 20, but then you will need the money for 40 years. And the third reason for top up of existing investors is lifestyle inflation. We all talk about the inflation at 4-5%. That's the real inflation, of course, but people's lifestyles are changing and getting upgraded. We were not buying the same gadgets, we were not taking the same kind of vacation, we were not buying the kind of cars that we have, or the kind of the spending that we do is very, very different now, and that's why we need top up. And the third E is expand the net. Once we have ensured that all our existing clients' money is retained for long term, the number 2 is we encourage top up and then expand the net, because still only 4.3 crore investors and we have a long way to go. And again, I mean, I always tell, even Sunil talked about the advisor alpha or the MFD alpha, depending on the role that you are playing. I think that's very, very critical. In our industry, in every conversation, you hear about equity, fixed income, hybrid, money market, institutional, retail. You will hear about active, passive. You will hear about T30, B30. You will hear about institutional versus retail, mutual fund versus PMS, AIF. I mean, the most important thing is client at the center. The discussion is always around some or the channel, MFD versus ND versus banks versus fintechs versus direct, so on and so forth, and then PMS, discretionary, non-discretionary, category 2, category 3, and all of that. But less discussion on client at the center. What are the problems that we are solving for them? What is the need that they have? And I always say, when we say that understand or whatever, we all know the KYC, the know your customer. The bigger job for us over the next several years is understand your customer. Move from KYC to UIC. From KYC to UIC, because customers don't know what their need is. I repeat, we always say that try to understand the need of the customer. Customer doesn't know what their need is because customers didn't know that they needed an Uber. They didn't know that they needed an Airbnb, right? I mean, they would have thought that if you have a transportation, if you have booked a cab, maybe the driver is wearing a better dress, there is a newspaper, maybe a water bottle, maybe a better whatever, interior AC is working well, there is a music playing or whatever. But nobody thought that actually the need was for something like a Meru first, and then when the Meru came, it was like a big thing for us, right? But we didn't know that actually we were needing something like an Uber. I mean, just to give an example, and I can give many others, the real need, and that's why that larger income and need for larger wealth, or the lifestyle inflation and the longevity, some of those are very important because they may or may not have fully grasped that whole thing. The best part, as I said, that if we keep that at the center every single day, every single week and several months, I'm sure a lot of the other things will automatically fall in place, and we don't have to get bogged down by the complexity that gets created in some or the other manner. And when we keep that, and I'll just give you one or two analogy, once we get completely focused on that, then how our relationship with the customer, and for us, you are the customer, for you is the end investor, is the client. The customer has to feel, or the client, I keep telling our guys, they have to feel like a baby in the air. When you throw a baby in the air, the baby laughs, right? At our age, it's not possible. If somebody is throwing us in the air, by the fear only we will die, forget about falling and getting hurt. We'll get hurt in the air itself. Despite whatever, there may be something spongy below and we'll get saved. But a baby laughs because baby is so confident that there are two hands, there are two arms waiting for me, and there is a thrill that I can enjoy. Even for a fraction of a second, a millionth of the second, the baby doesn't get fearful by that. And our clients have to feel like that. We have to be driven by that, other things will fall in place. Or let's say the other analogy could be like a surgeon in an operation theater that, a customer has given us money, what we are buying, what we are selling, ours is the most transparent industry, not only in India, but in the world. Clap for yourself as well as for the industry, for our regulators, and I think a lot of credit to the regulators and the industry body, but I think together we have worked so hard to make this product so transparent over the years and in terms of disclosures that we do. But at the same time, the money is with someone, right? The customer knows what we have done after we have invested or after you have put that money somewhere, but they have to feel like once you go into the OT, you are in anesthesia, you have no idea what's happening to your liver or kidney or any part of the body, but you have faith that you will come out after like whatever that you went for, and they need to have the same faith. I think our entire industry needs to work exactly in the same manner. And as I said that at St. Thuruvallur, he said that there is no wealth like a virtue, and there is no loss, bigger loss than forgetting it. I think if we all work in the next 3 or 4 minutes that I have, if we all work with that noble mission, if we all work with that deep purpose at the center, if we all work with that deep sense of trusteeship, this is the most noble job in the world. This is the most noble profession in the world, where somebody is trusting their savings to us, and I think we need to keep that in mind. And then, of course, that's what I said, that the what and how of strive and innovate, a lot of people will do a far better job than me in terms of what needs to be done, and I'll only focus on the why part of it, why we need to strive, why we need to innovate, and what will create the prosperity for us as well as for our clients. In our industry, we all get a lot of credit. Of course, a large part of that 12 lakh crores, we haven't worked hard. Somebody else is working hard. There are entrepreneurs who are creating their wealth. There are policymakers who are ensuring that the macro stability is there. Our markets, equity market, bond market, currency market last year were one of the least volatile markets in the world. And that's thanks to policy prudence, thanks to agile execution, thanks to the resilience of our investors, and of course the effective communication by the policymakers. And as I said, that entrepreneurs are doing a wonderful job, but as fund managers, we get a lot of credit. You handle the investors, and they create the wealth, and we get all the credit. So I'll just thank God for giving this honor and privilege. And in these two lines, I'll end this, which is I'm coming from bottom of my heart. मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, करते हो तुम प्रभुवर मेरा नाम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है. So I thank God, and I think if we work, if we leave in His hands, I'm sure we are all in safe place. We are so lucky to be at the right time, at the right place. यही समय है, सही समय. Thank you so much. God bless you.